Well, that wasn't the prettiest basketball game I've ever watched in my life, but it was a good win for us. And, we sustained the lead in the second half, even though we had some tough plays, tough sequences out there. But they contested well at times. We got some easy baskets and some transition points that helped edge it.
Questions for Coach? First question, Bob on the right on one.
Phil, could you address Pau Gasol's contribution tonight?
Well, I thought Powell played, a big game tonight. He tried a couple things on the post to start the game. They weren't successful, but he found a little rhythm. Other spots in the game, I thought they did a good job on him in the post, but his movement, his activity was important.
Back right, John.
Yeah. Phil, can you talk about, you went deep into your bench in that second quarter and played some lineups you really haven't played the whole year. Can you talk about how they held down the fort for you?
Yeah, we had to match up with a small guard unit. They came out with Robinson and Rondo. Obviously, they tried to energize their game a little bit with pace, put Allen some at 3 even in that sequence. We had a good contribution from Shannon. I thought he did some things that were good for us in that sequence. Jordan did some defensive things all right. And I think we kind of weathered the storm out there with fouls and, Artest and, Derek and Kobe, all of them in foul situations. We had to do that.
This side, towards the back.
Dennis Friedman, California Crusader. Coach, can you talk about Ron Artest's defense on Paul Pierce tonight?
He did fine. I thought he had a, foul. We tried to talk him into, not getting, gambling fouls out there, little inconsequential things that, cost him a foul early in the ball game, and he had to go sit down for a while. But he came back and I thought solidified our defense for quite a period of time. He did a good job a couple times. Pierce had to find a bailout pass and got a run-out layup out of it. He made some big baskets for us also that were, I thought, real kind of shot in the arm kind of shots for us, three-point shots and sequences of opportunities that he had a screen roll.
Mike?
Phil, were you surprised by the power categories, the differential, rebounds, points in the paint, second chance points, all heavily in your favor?
I hadn't analyzed the box before I was run out here, but 16-0 and second chance points is pretty remarkable. They are a team that has big guys. They do, splay out with their shooters, Garnett and Wallace, so a lot of times they're not available, but Perkins and Davis are active on the boards, and we're able to hold that in. That was a big part of the game.
Jay?
Well, you said it wasn't a pretty game, but was it aesthetically pleasing to you to get that point production and the balanced scoring that you saw from your team?
I thought we got some different places, guys chipped in at different times, helped us out. I'm particularly happy about Drew being able to play the minutes he was able to play tonight and support us because of the foul trouble that Lamar got in.
Over on the right side.
Phil, you talked a little bit about Powell, but he coming off of 2008, there's still a lot of questions about toughness and things like that with him. Do you see from him an effort to try to consciously answer those sorts of questions about his game?
Well, what I see from him is, just the little actions that represent not backing down type of thing. Getting hit, taking the blow, absorbing it, not reacting to it one way or the other with mentality. Either look at the referee or wonder about the blow and the legitimacy of it. Those are the things that I think he's learned in the last year and a half or two.
Phil on the right.
Phil, you guys were able to build a big lead, extend it, and then never really let it dwindle too far. Can you just talk about the importance of keeping your foot on the gas?
We had a good third quarter, important quarter. Obviously, a couple baskets in there that really kind of stepped it out a little bit. It just stayed at 9, 10, 11 for a long period of time in that third quarter, and then we were able to extend it somewhat. Fourth quarter, obviously, they came out and scored, 10-1 right off the bat, set that game right back in, a contesting point again.
Chris on this side. Go ahead.
Phil, what does the statistic mean to you that you're 47-0 in your career when your team wins the first game of a series? And now that the first game is over, do you have continued good feelings that you've had when you've previously won the first game of series?
I wish I felt that way, you know. I wish I could put it in the bank, so to speak. But we got to play this out. We know this is a team that's got a multitude of changes, lineups, activities, capabilities. Their defense, I think, stiffened at various points in the game, was very effective. So we have a lot of work ahead of us, but it's nice to know that that's on our side.
Julian?
You talked a lot about keeping Rondo and the Celtics in general out of transition. Can you talk about taking the keys out of his hands and not letting that offense get started? Really?
I thought that was a big part of it. Not having layup line going on with Rondo, and his activity is just little things, steals in the backcourt, transition baskets, steals and activity in outlet passes and things that he's capable of doing. I thought we were careful around him, but yet respectful of what he can do.
Tougher, and it's the finals, and
It's just game one.
just game one. Were you bored at all by what was going on?
No, I never was bored, to tell you the truth.
Never?
It was long. It was a long game, though.
Coach, Eric Pincus, Hoops World. The Celtics seem to make a push defensively in that fourth quarter. Are you concerned that they sort of gained an idea of how they want to attack? Your concerns for Game 2?
I think that's consistent with how they want to play. We were trying to, encourage our players to continue to do things that were correct. And, they fell into little habits of dropping the ball in Kobe's hands and allowing him to try and, do things individually, which their defense can key off of. They're a good enough defensive team to be able to key off that. So we know it's going to take more than just dropping it in Kobe's hands and going over and standing in the corner and watching him.
Last question in the front.
Phil, I know you sort of deferred on that Game 1 issue, but how important is it to get off, in your mind, to that start, a good start, especially when you have the home court advantage?
Well, it's ultimately important, but then every game becomes the next most important game. You know how that goes. But, this first game kind of sets the table, and that's important action. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Coach.